All right. Good morning, Facebook. It is great to be here with you today. We are in day two of our digital devotionals, and we're pumped to be here with you. I'm going to wait just a minute for people to jump on. Yesterday, we got this thing going at around 9 a.m., and most of the people who were able to get on were from out of town. And so I'm trying it at about 7:30 this morning just to see if a different time works better for folks. We'll see what's going on. I've got my trusty Sea Rock City coffee mug happening right now, which I'm pretty excited about, not gonna lie. It is piping hot coffee, and getting ready to jump into the Bible this morning and read and just take one little takeaway for us today. The interesting thing about the time that we're in right now is that most of us, almost all of you, are kind of stuck in your house. I'm assuming you're probably working from home. A lot of folks are. So taking time to connect with other people right now is really important. Um, Even just something as simple as a digital devotion like this. And so if you're on right now, throw a little comment out there. Let us know where you're from. I see Robin, Pat Apperson from St. Louis. Come on. There were so many STL people on yesterday. It was like a little mini reunion. And that's the fun of this. That's the beauty of something digital like this. And that's the fun of technology. Thank God for it. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to get into the text each day just a little bit and give us one little takeaway. These will range from anywhere from 10 minutes to 11, 12 minutes. They won't be long. But they're just a moment for us to get together and connect, because it's easy to get super lonely and super isolated. And this can be a moment, even though you're stuck inside due to COVID-19 for the most part. Most of you are. You can still grow, you can get in the Bible, and you can still connect with other people. So with that, here's what we're going to do. Exodus 17, we're going to go all the way to the Old Testament today. And I'm just going to read a quick little story from Exodus 17. So here we go in verse 9 through 13. The Bible says this, that Moses says to Joshua, "Choose us some men and go out, fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the rod of God in my hand." So Joshua did as Moses said to him, and he fought with Amalek. And Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. And so it was, when Moses held up his hands, that Israel prevailed, and when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed. But Moses' hands became heavy, so they took a stone and they put it under him, and he sat on it. And Aaron and Hur supported his hands, one on one side and the other on the other, and his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. So Joshua defeated Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. So, simple story. If you're new to church, if you're not familiar with any of the Old Testament stories, no worries. I'm going to unpack it for you here just for a second. Joshua is fighting the Amalekites, and Moses is up on the hill, and he's holding a staff. And as long as his hands are held up high, they're victorious. But when he starts to fatigue and he gets tired and his arms go down, well, they begin to lose. And you can probably already see where I'm going with this. The victory belonged to God, all right? And the Old Testament, when you read stories in the Old Testament, you always want to ask yourself, how does this point us to Christ? And the reality is that the victory belongs to Jesus. The ultimate victory belongs to Jesus with his death on the cross and his resurrection from the grave 3 days later. He is victorious over sin and death. That is the victory that is in Jesus. And when we read about victories in the Old Testament, well, they point us to Christ. Well, in this particular story, I love this because the victory belongs to God, and yet Moses still needs other people around him. And this is a tremendous spiritual truth for us, because for many of us, faith and church and Christianity has looked like something We practice on our own. We practice by ourselves. It's just our own little thing. And the reality is that your faith is meant to be practiced in the context of community. And no more, that has been revealed, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, that's been shown to us more and more in these past few days, in the sense that people are really lonely. And if you're going to be stuck in your home for 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, etc., we're going to realize how important community really is in ways that we've never had to realize before, for most of us, at least as Americans. And so I want to just remind you of this. The victory belongs to God, but that doesn't mean that you don't need people to hold you up from time to time. When my wife and I moved to Atlanta and we helped plant a church here, or we started the church here with the lead pastors here, there were times where we were really discouraged and things were really tough. And we had some great friends who were willing to pray for us, who were willing to just sit with us, who were willing to laugh with us, laugh at us, be good friends, and people to prop your arms up in times of great difficulty. Sometimes that's a pastor, sometimes that's a neighbor, sometimes it's a friend. But you need people in your life, and that means you got to humble yourself and allow other people to lift your arms from time to time. It's easy to get discouraged with parenting kids. Sometimes you need folks to just help you, speak life to you. Marriage can be hard. Sometimes you need people to just encourage you in your marriage, to help you walk the line, to help you be faithful, help you to speak, just literally just to be kind. It's easy in your marriage, right? For the other person, you just get in this cycle of being snippy and being ugly or being mean. That happens in marriages all the time. It's really easy being single to get stuck, just feeling discouraged or depressed, isolated, thinking your situation never is going to change. You need people to come around you to help lift up your arms from time to time, to help you grow in your faith. The victory belongs to God. The victory is His. But that doesn't mean that you don't need other people to walk alongside you. That's my encouragement to you today. Here's some practical ways that you can put this into play. If you're stuck at home, take a minute, grab your phone, shoot somebody an encouraging text today. Let them know you're thinking of them. Or better yet, pray, but be the kind of person who's actually going to pray. Don't do the whole Bible Belt, I'm going to pray for you, and you don't actually pray. Pray for people, right? If they ask for prayer, or ask them if they would like you to pray, actually pray right then and there. Don't be like, I'm going to pray for you, and then you're never going to get to it, because we know how life is, right? Be the kind of person who does something about it right then and right there. Prop up somebody's arms and pray for them. Be a help to them. Here's something else that we're doing locally here in our part of Atlanta. Jenny Bailey, person who's on our church leadership team, she helped start this Facebook group called Caremongering. We got the idea from what's happening in Canada, and they took a little spin off this idea of scaremongering, and they made it caremongering in a time like now, where you need people to just talk to be mindful of kind of your everyday needs, or those who have immune deficiencies and can't get out of their house to get things. This group on Facebook, it's amazing the amount of caring that's happening to a lot of different people right now from a lot of different walks of life. It's not an extension of our church. It's just literally people coming together and caring for one another. Do something like that. Start a group. People who needed baby formula who couldn't find it are able to get information on where they could go get formula, or people are dropping things off for other folks. Somebody's posting that they don't have any toilet paper, and there are literally people getting in their cars and with toilet paper to drop off, at somebody's house. I went to the grocery store yesterday. I couldn't find a thing. I mean, there was just nothing there. There was no toilet paper, and there was no chicken. And I mean, what do you do when you've got 4 kids and there's no chicken? All right. Well, guess what a group like this does? It allows for people to care. What do you need? Back in the day when I was growing up in St. Louis, you needed butter You asked the neighbor and they walked down the street and they gave you some butter, right? In some ways, we're kind of getting back to a moment like that where you're able to express a need. And while you're not able to necessarily invite somebody into your home for coffee right now, we got people who are going way out of their way to be kind and helpful to other folks in times of need. You can do the same thing. Be the kind of person who props up somebody else's arms. And also be the kind of person who's willing to admit that you need somebody else to help you. We're both of these people. You're both Aaron and her in this story, but you're also Moses. And ultimately, thank God, the victory belongs to Jesus. Love you. And if you want to join our other Facebook group, if you're local here and you're watching from Kennesaw, Woodstock, Marietta, whatnot, search for Caremongering in Kennesaw. And we'd love to help you get connected and help be a blessing to you in any way we can. If you're watching from out of town, start something like that. Why not? Be crazy. Start your own digital devotions. Do something to be a blessing to somebody else. Or if you really want to get wild and crazy, snail mail it. Get out a piece of paper and write somebody a note and put it in your mailbox these days. I think we're going to need it. We're going to need some moments where we prop each other up in moments like this. That's it, ladies and gents. I will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Have a great Thursday. Love you. Blessings to you.